Hello, I'm Rex Crandell, and today I'm going to be talking about the Do Not Resuscitate Order DNR form. I'm an attorney CPA in Walnut Creek, California, and this topic relates to estate planning, comprehensive estate planning that we do quite a bit of. This particular form, there are a lot of forms related to medical care and estate planning, interacting with emergency care providers and or your doctors and hospitals. This form is specifically designed for a do not resuscitate order. So the assumption here is that your heart has stopped, you're presumably on the ground, and emergency medical personnel come to revive you, and you've said, no, don't give me CPR or other emergency services to get my heart back together again or working. This form is not to be confused with the Advanced Healthcare Directive that allows you to appoint an agent to make your medical decisions should you want to during your life, or if you're disabled, unable to communicate with medical personnel, it allows the agent to make medical decisions for you and obtain your medical records. This form does not replace another similar form called a physician's order for life-sustaining treatment. That form is designed for end-of-life decisions for someone who's got less than 18 months to live, and it has to do with other purposes, including CPR, sort of cardiovascular resuscitation, but the other form has to do with end-of-life decisions, and this particular form, the DNR, is specifically for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. The CPR includes chest compression, assisted ventilation, endotracheal intubation, that's easy for you to say, defibrillation, which may be electric paddles, and cardiotonic drugs. It does not affect anything else for healthcare, including palliative care, which has to do with pain reduction or difficulty breathing, major hemorrhaging, or other conditions. I've included a link here where you can order the form. The form, last time I checked, was less than $2 per form, and it comes in 3 parts, the official form. And the 3 parts include the white copy for the patient, goldenrod for the doctor who's going to sign the form, and then there's a pink copy of the form that you would send to a medallion. They call it a medallion. It's really a wristband that gives your information about your do not resuscitate order, so that if you're laying on the ground in the Sierra Nevadas and emergency people come up, they can look immediately at your wrist and find out that you have a DNR form. This form is designed as a pre-hospital setting. The idea is emergency medical workers are going to be trying to revive your heart while you're out in the public somewhere, and they're going to eventually bring you to a hospital or emergency care facility. But we're talking about just the care at the time when it is discovered that your heart has stopped beating and you're not moving and you're not breathing. So there are several ways that you can notify emergency personnel that you do not want resuscitation for the DNR. One is to put a card in your wallet with that information on it. Another, as I mentioned, is ordering a medallion. There's about 3 companies that offer these. One of them is out of Turlock, California. Dog tags, like military style information for emergency medical personnel. And this other method I don't recommend. This woman in England had a protest going on about do not resuscitate. So she tattooed it to her chest. I don't recommend that method for a couple reasons. It's more expensive than filling out the form. And if you change your mind, it's harder to cross out the words not and say, oh, I changed my mind, please resuscitate. Okay. So this form is useful for someone who has the situation and medical choices. They don't want to be resuscitated. We have an example in our practice where someone showed up at a hospital that wasn't their own hospital, collapsed in the reception area, their heart stopped, emergency personnel came out and revived the person's heart. And even though they had a DNR in place, nobody knew about it. They saved the gentleman's life. And at 88, he's still alive today. And I think personally, that was a fortunate mistake, because had they not resuscitated him, he would have been deceased at this point. So the Medical Alert Foundation, you can order your medallion, wrist medallion. That's probably the best way to do it. Carrying the form around with you is, I think, kind of counterproductive because it's too big. And you sign off the form that you're agreeing to waive CPR and other care, and that this is your wishes, and that you have thought about it and signed off. Okay. And another part of it is you have to have a DNR signed by a doctor. State of California thinks everybody's stupid and they need to have in locus parentis, or someone like a parent in charge. So they designed it so you have to have a doctor's signature on the form, that the doctor went over all your options with you. And in law, this is a big statement: informed consent, or informed decision making. And that means that they were given all the options, they understood it, and this person was basically counseling them. And then the doctor is not acting as a notary or a witness, but the doctor is stating that they have gone through those educational, informative discussions with the client or patient. When you want to change your mind on a DNR, I would suggest on the paper form, write a line through it saying void and the date. And then if you do a new DNR, attach the first one. Or if you're not going to use a DNR in the future, just cross it out, put a void wording on it, and also give it to your medical personnel. And if you've registered your DNR with any of the public agencies, you need to withdraw that DNR filing with that agency. And if you've got tattoos, you're going to have to get dermatology to get the tattoo removed. One of the things that I was surprised to find out is that ordinarily CPR is, when you watch it on the movies or on TV, CPR works like this: a person dies, they give them CPR, they jump up, they walk away, they feel great, fine. That's a bit of a fantasy land. First of all, cardiopulmonary resuscitation is effective in saving someone's life, usually less than 10% of the time. So it's not as reliable as some people might think. The other problem with CPR that should be part of the decision-making process is when you compress the lungs and the chest, the sternum and the ribs 1.5 inches to get enough distance pushed out of the other body parts to get the heart going. Normally it creates broken ribs, or it can create a broken sternum. So you're live, which is the better part of the equation, but you have to realize you may have broken ribs. And if you're 95 years old and you don't feel that you have long to live, you may not want to spend the rest of your days with broken ribs. So a doctor needs to sign the form, or there's other authorized individuals in a medical practice that can sign this form with the patient, and that is a licensed nurse practitioner or a physician assistant. Both of those categories of workers have an ID number that should be indicated on the do not resuscitate order. And it looks like that the pulse kind of got mixed in here. And just recall that a do not resuscitate order is not a pulse, which is long-term care, pull the plug, and it is not an advanced healthcare directive. In a DNR, you're not appointing anyone to make medical decisions for you or access your medical records. It's strictly do not give me CPR or the electric paddles of life. And those emergency measures, I have decided for me, I don't want them. So that's one component in a comprehensive state plan, and each component of it should be considered. And when we're doing a comprehensive estate plan, we include in blank forms of the do not resuscitate order, the physician's order for life-sustaining treatment, and we also always prepare an advanced healthcare directive. So if you have any questions, you can contact our office. Thank you for listening, and it was a pleasure offering this information for your use.